The amber sky of Arcanthus shimmered like molten glass as James Calder, a human engineer assigned to the diplomatic frontier, tightened the coolant valves on the shuttle's external wing. He preferred quiet work, far from military councils and far from the tense treaties between humans and dragons that everyone pretended were stable. But the universe rarely let him stay invisible. Across the landing deck, a small flash of silver scales darted between cargo crates. A dragon child, no older than 8 cycles. Her wings were tiny, more decorative than functional, and her tail trembled with fear. She kept glancing behind her, eyes wide. James frowned. "Hey, kid, you okay?" Before he could approach, 5 cloaked figures slid from the shadows like living smoke. Assassins, their blades curved with the metallic shimmer of poison. Their target was obvious. James didn't think. He ran. The lead assassin lunged, blade drawn. James threw himself between the child and death, grabbing the attacker's wrist and twisting with brute strength. Pain exploded across his ribs as a second blade tore through him. Then a third, then a fourth. The 5th blade sank in under his collarbone. Cold, numbing. The child screamed, a sound so shrill it shook dust from the steel rafters. James dropped to his knees, body failing, vision tunneling. The assassins fled as alarms blared across the outpost, guards racing in from every corner. And the last thing James saw before darkness swallowed him was the dragon child pressing her tiny hand against his cheek, whispering something ancient and trembling. "You protected me. I will not let you fall." He woke to firelight, to warmth, to power, but not to pain. James blinked slowly, breath steady, body whole. The room around him glowed with crystalline amber walls carved in spirals, each pulse carrying the rhythm of something alive. This wasn't the human outpost. He was inside the Dragon Kingdom. And not just anywhere. He recognized the symbols etched into the walls from old diplomatic briefings. This was the Hall of Eternal Flame, where only the greatest dragon champions were revived, healed, or honored. A figure stepped forward, tall, elegant, and draped in obsidian scales. Her wings folded neatly against her back, and her eyes glowed with gold molten light. Princess Rose Arcanthus, daughter of the Dragon King and heir to the Eternal Flame. She wasn't a child now. She was the same silver-scaled dragonette he had saved, but now in her young adult form, humanoid in shape, powerful in aura. "You are awake," she said, voice calm but trembling with emotion. "We feared your spirit would drift too far." James pushed himself upright. His shirt was gone, replaced by ornate ceremonial robes stitched with ember thread. A mark glowed on his sternum, a sigil shaped like a dragon's wing enclosing a human hand. What happened to me?" Rose stepped closer. "You died. For a child that was not your own. For me." Her wings fluttered softly. "No human has ever done that." "I died," he whispered. "Your heart stopped. 3 times, she said, but I bound my flame to yours. A dangerous act, forbidden even." A faint smile touched her lips. "Yet, it worked." James stared at her. "Why go that far? I was just human," she interrupted gently. "That is precisely why." The guardians gathered. The great doors thundered open as 6 colossal dragons, the guardians of Arcanthus, entered, their shadows bending like titans. They circled James, each lowering their massive heads in respect. Respect for a mechanic. Rose's voice echoed across the chamber. "Hear this truth. James Calder, a human with no oath to our kingdom, shielded me from blades meant to cripple the royal line." A rumble of anger shuddered through the dragons. "He fought without armor, without training, without hesitation. He has earned the mark of the Flame-Bearer." The dragons bowed their heads deeper. James swallowed. "Flame-Bearer? That sounds important." One guardian, towering emerald and scarred with centuries of battle, lowered his snout until its heat washed over James's face. "It is the highest honor our kind bestows," the guardian growled softly. "Only those trusted to stand beside our kingdom's shield, to guard royalty itself, carry that mark." James blinked. "You're making me a guardian?" Rose stepped to his side. "You already acted like one." Training began, and the universe changed. Days blurred into weeks as James trained among dragon warriors whose wings cast shadows the size of buildings. He learned how to channel the ember mark on his chest, how to feel the flame strength Rose had woven into his body. It didn't give him fire breath or wings, but it gave him reflexes sharper than steel, endurance beyond human limits, and something even rarer: a dragon's instinct for protection. Rose trained with him, her humanoid form shifting effortlessly into her scaled shape. She taught him how dragons see the world, not in lines and logic, but in pulses of heat, emotion, and life. "You fight like someone who has lost before," she told him one night, fire curling lazily behind her. "But you protect like someone who refuses to lose again." He smiled faintly. "Is that good or bad?" "It is human," she said softly. "And that makes it powerful." The assassins returned, but this time James was ready. They struck during the ceremony of wings, hoping to finish what they had failed. Cloaked again, faster, deadlier. But James stood at Rose's side, not as a bystander this time, but as her appointed guardian. The first assassin lunged. James caught the blade with his bare hand. The ember mark flared, burning brighter than the torchlight. He moved with a speed that made the dragons pause. A twist, a strike, a pivot. 3 assassins fell within seconds, unconscious before they hit the ground. The last attacker tried to flee. Rose spread her wings wide and blocked the exit, her throat glowing with molten fury. James stepped forward, placing a hand on her arm. "Let me." The assassin trembled as James approached. The human who once fell to their blades now stood untouched, burning with dragon-forged strength. "You should have finished the job the first time," he said quietly, "because now I protect the kingdom you tried to break." The assassin dropped their weapon. After the battle, Rose looked at him differently, not just as her savior, not just as her guardian, but as an equal. A bridge between humans and dragons, forged in sacrifice and flame. "You took 5 blades for me," she whispered, "and now the entire kingdom stands because you stood for a child." She placed her hand over the ember mark on his chest. "You may be human, but your heart beats with our fire." James smiled, exhausted but steady. "Guess I'm stuck with you then." Rose's wings shimmered, her eyes glowing softly. "You were never stuck," she said. "You were chosen."